implement. What I more like to do is teach you guys more in depth of how to eventually create your own system and strategy that suits your personality. But I know we gotta kind of, you know, I know this is pretty necessary for a lot of people. Some people want to see different things that I may use, and just kind of want a starting point as they learn, the skill of trading a little bit more. So I'm gonna dive into this. So Bollinger Band strategy. I'm actually go over two different strategies today. So the first one will be this Bollinger Band strategy. And give me one moment here. So it's just going to be a simple Bollinger Band. You know, always get that from your indicators. Bollinger Band will be under trend. It's going to be custom settings. I didn't change anything, or standard settings. So it'll be the 20 period, zero shift, and the 2 deviation. That's going to be standard. Then we're going to also add this Bollinger Band, or excuse me, the stochastics. It's going to be 5, 3, and 3. And what we're looking for in this strategy is going to be waiting for the price to touch either the upper Bollinger Band or either the bottom Bollinger Band. And what we want to see is the stochastics over 80. So we see the stochastics hitting over here this is about 87. It's going to be an indication for us to sell. Our stop loss is going to be around, it depends on which pair you use. GBPs, you want to give a little bit more room, but typically you want to do about a 20 pip stop loss. And I'll say about a 50 to 55 take profit. So we see the first example here. When to hit your stop, you're going to wait for the Bollinger Band, or excuse me, for the stochastics to start kind of crossing over. And once you get that kind of lean starting to kind of like fall, that'll be your entry to take the sell. So you see here, it was about a 20 pip stop. You got in on this candle, never hit your actual stop loss, and it dropped, would have gave you your take profit, and it went a little further as well. So easily 60 pips. You could have held on for about 80. And then we got, right after that, you got another signal. So when prices beneath the 20, we went down to the 10. You're getting ready for buys. This one kind of, you can't get false signals. Kind of faked this out a little bit. It pulled up and it dropped down a little bit more. Let's see what that actual stop loss was. Yeah, you could have possibly been stopped out on this actual sample here. So no strategy is 100% perfect. But we'll find you guys another good example of. There's one here. It's in there. So you have been close, but it didn't stop us out. Wait for it to pull up. Did drop back, but it didn't hit your stop. And this one you could have just held. It went for about 170 pips. So pretty simple strategy. Once again, the rules: let the price come to the outer band. Recommended on I like it on like the hour to 4 hours. Let it come outside of the band. Wait for the price to start boring over. Gonna enter, give it about a 20 to 25 pip stop. Depending on your lot size, you could probably even go a 30 pip stop just to give it a room to run. And you're gonna be looking for 2 times your stop loss, 2 to 3 times. So if my stop loss is gonna be 30 pips, I'm gonna be looking for anywhere from about 80 to 90 pips. And they gave it to us. They gave us about 133 pips of straight drop. Here's another buy signal. Started blowing up. No real drawdown. You could have held that thing first. You got your 90 pips. Been out of the market. You could have held for a little longer. I got about another 40, 50 pips. And then it gave us another signal to sell. So it's pretty cool strategy, pretty high probability. Say you're looking at about like a 70, 75% win rate on this. And you can always, as long as you're staying within your risk profile, you're risking right, it's a good beginner strategy for anybody to use. Next quick strategy I want to dive into is going to be a resistance, support and resistance strategy. So for this, we're going to pull out what we call pivot points. So if you're using MT4, you are going to have to download this. I'll put the link in the group. Or if you're using TradingView, there's actually an option to have it. So we're just going to add this overlay onto the Bollinger Band. Generally, this will be a clean, or let me do that. Let's start with a clean chart. Let's do a clean chart. And then we're going to add the pivots. So if I got any other pivot points. One sec, we got a couple people joining us. Use that little pivot. So we can add these pivots either on TradingView or, like I said, I'll send that link out to the group. So we're going to be having pivots, and we're also going to use an RSI. The RSI will show you guys overbought and oversold areas in the market. So I don't even have any examples here. What we want to do is we want to see price You want to see price coming a little bit above one of these pivot, the white lines or the green lines, and we want to see RSI overbought as well. So I'm looking for a good example. You typically want to see the RSI over 70. Again, my rule of thumb is over 80 and over 20. And you's been choppy lately. I don't know if we're gonna get a good example here. Here's one. Well, let's stick to EU. So as you guys can see, you won't get signals every day, but it does give you a rule-based uh, ideology of how you guys can enter the market. High probability, pretty safe entries. Let's see. There's an example. So we're on the hour chart. Same rules apply. We're going to be looking at about a 25 pip stop. We're going to be looking for 1 and 2 or about a 50 pip take profit. We want to see above the 70. Generally, I like to see the more extended, the better. I like to see probably about 80 range, but 70, above 70 works as well on the RSI. And you notice we're above the pivot. And once we start getting the price to turn down, we get a nice sell-off. And you would have caught, it would have gave you actually 120 pips there. Now this particular pivot, it doesn't show the bottom because it's more for current price action. But the one I'm gonna pull up TradingView here in a second. I'll show you guys how it looks, how you can catch the reversals as well. So we pretty much got a signal coming up here. We were above the M3, we were beneath. So this is gonna play as a resistance as well. Yet we have RSI above the 70. Price did kind of whipsaw, but that's why we give it a 25 pip stop. So your stop wouldn't have got hit. And currently we're moving down to the downside. So we look for around 50. There's a lot of resistance or support here, but we still want to try to get our 50 pips. So we, for every dollar we want to, have the chance to gain back $2. So as far as a exit signal, we're either going to be looking to get the 50 pips, or if the RSI goes down beneath the 30, that's going to be a sign that we may want to go ahead and get out this trade. So we're going to go take a quick look here at some things in TradingView. I want to kind of come over these basic strategies, or simple strategies that, I wouldn't say basic, but they're simple strategies that allows you guys to have a good entry point into the market. So if you notice these I would say next few days, we're going to kind of bring it back in. And, some of the techniques I use or the concepts are kind of new or forward thinking for a lot of traders. So it's, it's kind of pivotal. We're going to start trying to like a tier base. We're going to start like with tier 1. We'll give you guys kind of simple strategies, kind of learn the market flow. Then, over the next couple of weeks, you guys have an opportunity to jump into like a tier 2 environment, which will be more advanced concepts, patterns, indicators. And then we'll work our way on up to a tier 3, which once we get to tier 3, it's going to show you guys why I spend a lot more time in tier 3 than I do with these, some of the starter concepts. Basically, I'll show you guys why you don't want to stick here too long. So with the pivots, let's get pivots. But don't get it misconstrued what I'm saying, because you definitely can make money using these simple strategies, straightforward. But as you guys grow your accounts, I want you to have a more deeper understanding of some of the things that's going on in the market, so you can actually extract pips and continue to see your equity curve uh, go bullish. Also, with this pivot strategy, you want to stay with like Euro, USD, and I would say GBP. They seem to move the best, so they're a little bit more fluid with this actual strategy. So we can see here, these numbers are going to be the pivot points. See, price was under the 20. Would have gotten our entry at 123. Price did come up, came back down to about 121. 120.19. So well within your 20 pip stop loss, and price didn't stop going up to about 134. So right about 120 pips off of this pivot, and using you can really use any oscillator, RSI, stochastics, MACD, whatever you would like to use. Come here, we're way above the 90, way above the 80. We got our pivot point. Could have took the next candle. Stop would have been about 20, 25 pips. We got a nice drop. We got right about almost 100, another 100 pips to the downside. So, like I said, you won't get a signal every day. Like here, it was a pivot, but the RSI was kind of already pointing up. You want to see it underneath the 20. So we could have probably got in here, but you won't get opportunities. You may get a single, you may get an opportunity every day, to be honest. So you'll get an opportunity, but you just have to stay patient. Wait for it to be overbought, or for it to be over 80 is what I recommend, or to be under 20. This pivot indicator is going to be called pivots high and low. So you can add that to your trading view. Add on RSI, R stochastics. It's going to give you guys some great indications to get into the market. One thing I will tell you, if you get caught into a kind of, well, no, for now, you guys just stay with using the 20 pips. If you take the loss, just allow it to take the loss, because we're running a 2-to-1. So, your losses are going to be paid for if you get shook out of the market. So next thing, I'm gonna just jump into a few trades before I do that. All right, let me recap real quick. We went over the pivot point using the stochastics strategy, and we also went over the Bollinger Band using a stochastics or RSI, any type of oscillator. So same concept here, except for when you see it at the outer band, you want to see price approach the outer band, and you want to see it start to point down. It's going to be an entry, 25 pip stop loss, ride it down. So those two different strategies. One of them is a Bollinger Band with oscillator. The other one's going to be pivot points, playing support and resistance with an oscillator. So it's two surefire strategies to give you guys some high probability trades as you kind of grow your market knowledge or kind of get familiar with how the market flows. So before we jump to the next part, do you guys have any anybody have any questions on some of these strategies we went over today?